Augustia. In this video, I will share a part 3 on the secret to determine and dictate your value. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, watch those first. In this video, I want to elaborate more on the concept of value and what that actually means, and sharing also with this some observations in my own life. So, value. When we talk about value, when we talk about the practicality of what that means, let's just give an example of a relationship, because this is a main theme that I have been experimenting with and observing along with this. When you are speaking with other people, when you're in someone else's presence, when you're interacting with them in any way, the value of which that interaction, the quality, is also determined and dictated by how much you are established in yourself. If you're with somebody who doesn't know themselves in any way, shape, or form, they're very young and immature, and you are someone who is established more and aware of these things. Let me say this in a different way, because that doesn't quite add up. If you want to be attractive, the more attractive you are, the more you are established in yourself, the more attractive you will be. People crave that peace. People crave that energy. Because whether you acknowledge it or not, you are emitting, we are bioelectrical beings. We are pumping out information. We are all connected through the collective consciousness. We are all interacting with each other through aura and all other manner of ways. And whether people also acknowledge it or not, through our subconscious and unconscious mind, which also percolates up as information into our conscious mind, we are all picking up information that is much more subtle than we are aware of. And that information also helps us to be dictated or attracted. So sometimes you're attracted to people who may not even be physically pleasing to the eye, but something about their energy is extraordinarily attractive. You see this with people in the gurus, for example. There's also the gods and the goddesses. Some of these people, you don't know why, you're just attracted or drawn to them, but that's the way it is. And similar like this, it works the same way. And also you'll see that when you speak to somebody, when you are established in this silence that I have been talking about, the words you speak are very, very powerful. The words you speak are very, very attractive. They're captivating, charming. If these things are important to you, this is another reason to establish yourself in yourself. The value of your presence, the value of your words, the value of your engagement in general will all be increased exponentially the more which you establish yourself in truth. Now, if you're someone who's meditated before or used mantra, you may have experienced and tasted this in some ways. Another is attractiveness, not just in charm, but attractiveness in general, attracting situations, circumstances. When you are established in that purity of silence, which is an expression of your authentic self, which is associated with, if you look at the qualities or the names of God, for example, these names of God are explaining or expressing how that silence is expressed itself in its diversity. When you take that silence and you materialize it, you crystallize it, what do you have? You have peace, auspiciousness, prosperity, all the positive qualities, the virtues that these saints and other beings have realized. This is them crystallizing a divine expression, which is establishing themselves in yoga. Yoga is uniting themselves with God or divine, which is characterized and defined as the degree of silence they are established in. There are different types of samadhis, for example. And this is all just intellectual information. These are giving you concepts that are conveying to you the importance, the benefit of establishing oneself in silence. It's not just an escape. It's not just a tool to bring a relaxation to you. This is a creation as well. This is also transformation. This is also sustenance. The power to create, sustain, destroy, the power to reveal and conceal are all contained in this silence. Once you understand silence, you understand everything. You can access any power. If I want to create something enjoyable, then I must be established in silence. If I want to sustain this, I must maintain this silence. And if I want to transform that which is not the truth, then I must establish myself in silence so it may fall away. You have to understand these things and appreciate the glory and benefit. Now, don't take my word for it. This is the most important thing. Be still and know that you are God. Experiment with this. I want to say one final thing with this, the problem with God. As I mentioned in part 2, I use the word God because we have certain connotations and associate with it, which is particularly the highest thing, right? The problem you have to be aware of when you say God, it's not a bad word at all. It's just a loaded word, as Osho says. The problem with God is human beings, we have been conditioned to think of it as something outside of ourselves. And this is the problem with God. We think of it as a separate being. So don't fall into this trap. This is the trap that religions propose. Not that religions are bad. Perhaps they have been misinterpreted. Perhaps the information has lost some of its purity. Or perhaps it's a perception problem. But know that God is not someone different than you. Be still and know that you are God. Listen to the words. Be still and know that you are God. In stillness you are God. In stillness you are the source. You are the source of all the sound waves which create the angels and the gods and the goddesses, the sound waves which create intelligence, which create consciousness, the sound waves which are matter itself, particles, quantum physics. You are that source. That is God. So be still and know that you are God. God bless.